Our next movie is Friday the 13th, the final chapter, an immoral and reprehensible piece of trash that sold more tickets on its opening weekend than any other movie so far in 1984, and that is a very, very depressing commentary. It really makes me sad to think of all those moviegoers spending $4.50, $5, most of them teenage kids, sitting there watching this sad, cynical, depressing movie. Now,
I love Friday the 13th. There is something about this series that to me is just so cozy. I know that's a weird word to use, but every time I watch it, specifically the Paramount era, it takes me back to the late summer nights of my childhood. With no school, I would stay up until the wee hours of the morning with the windows open and the chorus of crickets and frogs serenading me as I would explore the treasures of satellite television, the only way we could get TV in our rural home. And I binged so much horror. Chief among them was Friday the 13th. While I have a deep love for other horror franchises and experience those in much the same way, Friday the 13th just hits differently for me. It carries with it a warm feeling like an old worn shirt, and whereas flaws in other franchises can be quite irritating to me, see the changing of the Myers house in Halloween 5, I find the flaws in the Friday the 13th franchise endlessly charming, like when they changed the name of Crystal Lake to Forest Green and nobody ever mentioned it again, or how screwed up the timeline is. Now, while I could talk about my love of this film series forever, the purpose of this video is actually to celebrate the 2017 ILLphonic asymmetrical survival horror game based on the Friday the 13th series. I've decided to talk about this game now, well, one, because today is Friday the 13th, but also because this game is approaching the end of its life. On December 31st of 2023, the game will be delisted from online storefronts, and on December 31st of 2024, the servers will be shut down. This means that this Friday the 13th is one of 3 remaining within the lifespan of this game, and it's the only one that happens in the spooky month of October. I came to this game much later than I wish I had. I had heard of the game, heard of its turn from a Kickstarter into a full-blown Friday the 13th game, but I didn't really follow it. And that's primarily because what I had heard about it was that it was, well, bad. Most of what I had heard was that it was janky, full of glitches, and not worth its cost. But in October of 2018, the game was given away for free on PlayStation Network. With no real risk other than some lost time, I downloaded the game, and with my brother and one of my best friends, we fell in love with this game. I was completely blown away. The amount of detail ILLphonic put into recreating elements of the first 9 films, well, part 2 through Jason Goes to Hell, was astounding. 8 Jasons, including Roy Burns, all mocapped by Kane Hodder, with Tom Matthews reprising his role as Tommy Jarvis. I was amazed at how much they actually cared about the subject matter. So does that mean the criticism I had heard was wrong? Absolutely not. This game was, and still is to a degree, glitchy and broken as hell. Wrong textures, wrong animations, broken collision detection, all rampant. Take a look at just a few of the instances I and my crew have captured over the years. This one right here is a particular favorite of mine. My brother is driving this car, and somehow he and the car, which, remember, other players need that car as a means of escape from Jason, glitched outside of the map to this weird Silent Hill fog world. He left the map. He took the car with him. I laughed so hard at seeing this, I couldn't even breathe. It was so insane that, to this day, I'll be sitting at my desk at work, occasionally think about this, and just chuckle to myself at how crazy this was.
Please, no!
So, do all these glitches make the game good? Well, that's all relative, but in a weird way, they do enhance the experience. It's a shared madness in multiplayer that can be endlessly amusing or frustrating, depending on what goes wrong and how it goes wrong. I'm certainly not saying that there is some sort of hidden genius here. There is nothing deeper here than error. But in a weird way, it's absolutely perfect for a Friday the 13th game that it be so off the rails and broken in this way. The Friday the 13th franchise is cheap, dirty, schlocky, but most of all, fun. We love the series because we get a cheap thrill out of it, be it through fright or through camp, no pun intended. We don't look to Friday the 13th for deep philosophical conversations or moral quandaries, we look to it for gore and tits. And you know what? That's enough. So I would ask, what would we expect from a Friday the 13th game? I don't think we'd see Kojima-esque plot lines. What we have here is a game that's challenging, it gives us a thrill in either chasing or being chased. You feel a sense of reward in either catching a counselor as Jason or escaping from Jason as a counselor. And while it's pretty PG-13 in the tits department, it more than makes up for it in the gore. Now, of course, there was the massive legal battle about the rights of Friday the 13th. This lawsuit ultimately led to the cancellation of the Jason X DLC for this game. But I'm not going to go into that. I may pretend to be a lawyer in real life, but I have far too much integrity to do that on the internet. So if you're interested in learning more about that, there are literally thousands of breakdowns online of what happened, and one or two of them probably give proper legal analysis. But as it is today, we are here to celebrate Friday the 13th, the game. Not what it could have been or what it should have been, just what it is. Is it perfect? God, no. But it's fun. I had good times with good friends, and it's sad to see the end in sight. In the modern age, we've sadly become accustomed to things like this coming to an end. Servers cannot run forever. While I have no doubt that PC gamers will likely keep this game alive for years beyond its official termination, much like a zombified Jason, the fact remains that the official game is reaching its end. With only 3 Friday the 13ths left on the calendar, I want to salute this game for all the good times it provided, whether intentionally or unintentionally. So Friday the 13th, the game, let me grab a bottle of wine and offer a toast.
Ted! Hey, Ted, where the hell is the corkscrew?
Now you've really got on the subject, which is that watching girls, and it's mostly girls again, getting stuck is entertainment. See, that's the pornography.
It's really sick.
That this is legitimate entertainment too. That you can go to a theater
And the movie
and pay for.
doubled its money in its first weekend.
Okay.
Isn't that wonderful?
All right, coming up next at the movies, Karen Black loses her husband and meets a wacky guy who takes his pulse while they make love.